I'm Byron Scott with a CTV News update. A Prince George's County police officer has been indicted on sex abuse charges involving a minor. The incident allegedly involving Officer Tristan Thigpen and a member of his household occurred in April of this year. Thigpen has been charged with sex abuse of a minor, assault, and related charges. And as Election Day draws closer, many Maryland voters will be utilizing mail-in ballots. CTV's Katira Jones has more on this story.
The countdown to Election Day is on, and voters across Maryland are beginning to receive their ballots. According to officials, the State Board of Elections is shipping out almost 800,000 ballots to registered voters across the state. This year, voters will be able to utilize drop boxes to submit their ballots. Now, the county will have dozens of drop box locations across Prince George's, including here at the Prince George's County Board of Elections. Remember, voters must sign the oath that is on the return label for their ballot to be counted. Reporting in Largo, Katira Jones, CTV News.
Meantime, early voting set for October 26th through November 2nd. Well, all eyes will be on Cleveland, Ohio tonight for the much-anticipated presidential debate. Donald Trump and Joe Biden will square off at Case Western Reserve and Cleveland Clinic. Topics that are expected to come up include their political records, the Supreme Court, COVID-19, and race. The debate comes in the wake of a New York Times report that revealed Trump avoided paying federal income taxes for many years. Tonight's event, which is the first of three of presidential debates, kicks off at 9 o'clock tonight. Well, MedStar is collaborating with Johns Hopkins University on two new coronavirus treatment and prevention studies. Both use convalescent plasma and both are recruiting participants in the D.C. area. Dr. David Sullivan says they're looking for people who have tested positive for COVID-19 and are in the early stages.
What we're saying is we can take those same antibodies from people that are recovered, and we can give them to people who are exposed and prevent infection, or we can take those same antibodies early during the first week of illness. It takes about 2 weeks for people to make their own antibodies. We're trying to show that antibodies given in a high dose early are very effective at preventing hospitalization or acquiring infection.
We know that there are certain groups that are getting hit with COVID much harder than others, minority groups, groups where they are living in large apartment complexes, for example, that aren't able to social distance. Are you hoping to reach out to these groups in particular, or is this just open to everyone?
It is open to everyone. We have translated things into Spanish. We are working on the Indian reservations in New Mexico and Arizona. So we're working with some of the hard-hit groups.
You must be 18 years old or older to take part in the trial. Those accepted will be compensated. For more information, visit covidplasmatrial.org. Well, state health officials are reporting 431 new COVID-19 cases today. That brings the total number to more than 124,000. Meantime, 9 deaths were reported this morning. Montgomery and Prince George's counties have each lost more than 800 residents to the virus. Well, the family of a man fatally shot while handcuffed in a police cruiser continues to mourn. As you reported yesterday, Prince George's County has agreed to pay the family of William Green a $20 million settlement. Officer Michael Owen allegedly shot Green 6 times while he was handcuffed in a patrol car in January. During the announcement with County Executive Angela Alsobrooks, family members said the agreement doesn't bring them resolution, justice, or peace.
This really doesn't make anything better for us. We're still mourning the loss of William Green. We're going to mourn the loss of William Green for a very long time. This is hard. Losing someone in this way is, you don't go through the normal grieving process.
Owen is awaiting trial on charges of second-degree murder. The trial is set to start next year. Well, earlier this month, Senate President Bill Ferguson proposed limiting the number of bills lawmakers could introduce during the chamber's session. The move is intended to reduce the workload on legislative staff and would likely lead to shorter committee hearings. Under the proposal, each senator would be allowed to request 30 measures for drafted for formal consideration. An additional 5 could be pre-filed.
we have big bills like the Kerwin legislation, which is hundreds and hundreds of pages, right? Well, you divide that up for, one bill, one page, you have 100 bills. I mean, I don't really understand the significance of limiting the number of bills, because bills often have many pieces to them. And if you say an individual can only introduce 30 bills, then they have, fewer, bigger bills. So I'm interested in hearing what the arguments are, but intuitively, I don't really understand the value.
Bills introduced on behalf of Senate committee, a local delegation, or task force would not count against a legislator's cap. Well, the U.S. Census Bureau says its population count will end on October 5th, 5 days after its declared September 30th deadline. The change, announced in a tweet, comes despite a federal court ruling that allows the head count to continue through the end of October, the original timeline for ending field operations. The October 5th announcement came as a virtual hearing was being held in California as a follow-up to a preliminary injunction. Well, according to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, 1 in 4 men have experienced physical violence by an intimate partner. To prevent the abuse of males, the county's Department of Family Services is hosting a virtual panel discussion on October 6th. It's called Your Role in Preventing Domestic Violence and Teen Violence.
We want to make sure that men can recognize when their relationships are unhealthy and not feel as though it's a negative thing, that all relationships have problems and concerns, but to be able to recognize amongst themselves that there may be things that they should work on.
For more information and to sign up, visit PrinceGeorge'sCountyMD.gov. Well, a pedestrian is killed attempting to cross Route 1 in Laurel last night. The victim has been identified as 59-year-old Larry Downey. Police say the Laurel resident was trying to cross Route 1 near Cypress Street at around 9 o'clock. Officials say he was wearing dark clothing and not in a crosswalk. They say speed was not a factor in that deadly crash. Well, BGE is Consumer Alert warning customers about scammers. The company says while schemes occur throughout the year, there's been an increase during the pandemic. This month alone, there have been 1,500 scam complaints, with customers losing about $25,000. To protect yourself, BGE says never to give personal information to anyone who comes to your door. Also, always ask for company identification. Lastly, the company says to never give payment to someone who comes to your door. Well, as we told you last Friday, Prince George's County is home to a new think tank. It's called the Gooden Center for Law, Media, Policy, and Historic Preservation. The organization was founded by attorney Karen Gooden and launched over the weekend. The Gooden Center includes a team of 20 experts in an array of fields. One of them is Dr. Edwin Chapman, who has spent decades studying substance abuse and addiction in the black community. He says it's significant that the team of experts is black.
We let others define us and define how we're treated. And just as I said, predominantly substance abuse was always treated as a criminal problem. So our folks went to jail. If you treat it as a medical problem, as it should be, then you begin to really address some of these other issues.
To learn more about the Gooden Center, go to gcgoodencenter.com. As we reported yesterday, the county's animal shelter has reopened, but before you visit, there are a few things you need to know. All pet adoptions are by appointment only. No more than 50 people will be allowed to enter the facility. Also, security personnel will be at the door checking temperatures and making sure that everyone is wearing a mask.
You can go on and get the adoption application downloaded and fill it out prior to getting here. And also, you can look on our adoptable pets. If you see 2 pets that you're interested in, you can write down their animal ID numbers. So when you get here, we can take you right out to do an interaction with those pets. Due to the pandemic, we're not allowing customers just to roam our entire facility. So it's all basically by appointment and by control. So we're trying to also control the population that's coming into the facility at one time due to the health officer's recommendations.
For more information, contact Animal Management at 301-780-7200. And let's get a quick check on our 3-day weather forecast. The National Weather Service has issued a hazardous weather outlook for our area. Tonight, isolated storms are likely throughout the evening. Wednesday, partly cloudy skies with a high near 70 and a low around 55. Thursday, mostly sunny skies with a daytime high of 73 and an evening low near 53. On Friday, partly sunny with a high of 65 and a low of around 48 degrees. Well, turning the page to your Tuesday calendar, the Junior Academy for the Performing Arts is kicking off their fall virtual theater sessions for young actors. Students will improve their skills and learn how to bring life to their voices in a virtual environment. The program is open to young performers ages 8 to 17. Classes begin Saturday, October 10. To register, visit pgparks.com. And that wraps up our newscast for tonight. Thanks for joining. I'm Byron Scott. Good night.
For the latest information on COVID-19 in Maryland, visit the State Health Department website. That's health.maryland.gov. Again, health.maryland.gov. Click the link to the COVID-19 information portal. There you'll find all the latest information about coronavirus. You'll find daily updates on cases and fatalities. Answers to questions about testing and the governor's stay-at-home order are available as well. For specific information about Prince George's, visit princegeorgescountymd.gov. That's princegeorgescountymd.gov. The site offers information about local services for residents and businesses. There's a link for COVID-19 relief donations. Also, food pantry locations are listed. And if you have any questions, call the county COVID-19 hotline at 301-883-6627. That's 301-883-6627.
My God.
It's another sad day in America.
Painful to be introduced to George Floyd during his last breath.
With a cop's knee on his neck.
On his neck. He deserves so much more.
How many black lives have to be taken before something is done?
We are not a threat.
I am shaking as I type.
This has got to stop.
We are sick of it.
We need conviction.
I just want us all to live.
The deaths will not stop until the powers that be are finally held accountable.
Don't look away from the truth until every one of us are free from white supremacy.
The world stands with you.
Criminalizing and killing of black and brown bodies is not new. It's as old as America. It's just getting filmed more.
Do you know what it feels like to be hunted? To have a new hashtag for a dead black person every single day? How does one plan a life if they aren't sure they will have a life to plan?
Deborah Dan,
Nina Pop, Stephanie Clark, Nia Wilson,
Keisha Mike,
Christopher Dion,
George Floyd. His name was George Floyd. Say his name.
Say his name.
George Floyd. Say his name.
Say their names.
Once again and always, we fight for justice.
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Rest in power, beautiful.
Go to blacklivesmatter.com.
I am what child hunger looks like in America. I am a 9-year-old boy who hopes a friend invites me to a sleepover so I can have dinner. I am a 15-year-old girl who goes for walks during lunch so my friends won't know I don't have anything to eat. I am a 13-year-old boy who gets into fights at school just because I'm hungry. I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 7 American children who struggle with hunger. Kids you pass by every day but never knew they were hungry.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.